Hey guys, Showstopper 414 here, coming at you with another Trials of War PlanetSide video. So, today we will be talking about aircrafts, flying them, countering them, all of the above. So, let's dive straight into this thing. So the first, and maybe one of the most important steps of having a successful flight is scouting. What you're seeing me doing right now is kind of get a feel of the battlefield, see what planes are there, and now I've decided that I want to use my aircraft. So almost what I do immediately after is go onto the map and check out what's happening. I also set down a marker to guide me while I'm flying because the bases can be pretty tricky to find, and if you're toggling in and out of your map while you're flying, you're very likely to hit a tree. This comment comes from experience, so trust me, just set the marker. It's worth it. So, once you've scouted out your battle, you know kind of what's happening. If the enemy has a lot of fighter craft, or if they have more liberators or galaxies, or if you're bringing the aircraft in to deal with armor threats. This is all going to determine your loadout. There are two main loadouts when you're going to be flying a plane. They're going to be your air-to-air loadout and your air-to-ground loadout. Your air-to-air loadout is probably going to want to have the Tomcat missiles on it that can lock on to enemy aircraft, like you see that I'm using right now. For your air-to-ground class, you're going to be wanting to use the breaker missile pods or the guided missiles that determine on your faction. As you can probably tell, air combat is very cert heavy. It depends a lot about if you can pump enough certs into your aircraft to get the correct weapon. Because if you don't have the correct weapons, you're usually going to be outgunned, and it's going to take some serious skill to be able to beat other fighters, especially if you're in a faction besides the Vanu, because the Vanu have a large advantage with their Scythe aircraft. So, as you've been seeing here, I flew in there twice, and I got destroyed. The Vanu had a ton of people in there. And a lot of times, if you're going to be using air combat, you're going to be outgunned a lot. Because if you see that enemies are totally controlling the skies and you need to take away from it, it probably means your teammates haven't done a very good job, meaning you're going to be one of the only pilots out there. Which leads us to our highly anticipated real-life counterpart. So, today we will be discussing the second raid of Schweinfurt. And the second raid of Schweinfurt, say that 5 times fast, was an attack by the American Air Force on German ball bearing facilities. They took tons of B-17s and were attempting to bomb these facilities. But one thing that worked against the Americans is that it was during the day. They also had a couple planning airs on the return flight and covering the bombers as they returned home. Well, the problem is that the Germans capitalized on this very much, and even though the Americans were able to hit most of their targets, the Germans were able to take out over 100 American bombers. And this converts to PlanetSide by kind of what you're seeing in the gameplay. A lot of times, you're going to get ripped up as an aircraft, especially when your team needs you the most, because you're going to be outgunned, outmanned, and in bad situations. So, let's talk into how you can maximize these minimal situations. So my first tip is you're going to want to focus fire. One thing that I don't do very well in this gameplay is I get crisscrossed with all the different scythes in the area, and I'm not even able to take out one. I fly past like 3 scythes, and then they're just able to gang up on me. So try to focus your fire on one and take at least one out, because that one aircraft out of the air could be a determining factor. But another thing you can do to help you when you're extremely outgunned is to use cover. A lot of times enemy aircraft will be so focused on attacking a base, they won't be looking for another aircraft sneaking behind a mountain. So, if you're able to get in better positioning by using trees or mountains to cover your approach, you can get an early jump on just about any fighter out there. Another thing is use the warp gate and other cover as a chance to repair. You can make your aircraft last a lot longer if you make short engagements and then you fly back, repair, and then get back at it. This allows you to keep your vehicle points and not waste them. As you see, I ran out of vehicle points a lot in this video, and for that I have to help on the ground now. But while we're on the subject of helping on the ground, let's talk about what you can do as an infantry soldier to take out these aircrafts that could be harassing you when you don't have any more vehicle points. So one of the first things you can do, which is really simple, is just take your primary weapon and start shooting at them. This works really well on the Scythes, the Mosquitoes, and the Reavers, but it won't work as effectively on Galaxies and Liberators. So don't waste your ammo. The second thing is you can look for anti-air turrets scattered around the base. These flak turrets will rip up aircraft and can easily deter an enemy air squadron. The sad thing is that a lot of bases in PlanetSide are lacking these anti-air cannons, which leaves them vulnerable to attack from the air. But as a point I usually stress in a lot of my videos, you can spawn maxes with an anti-air burster cannon from level 1. You can go in, set a second class for anti-air, and equip it. It works really well for taking out enemy aircraft, and your team will thank you for it when they don't have Scythes and Mosquitoes and Reavers breathing down their necks every time they try to make a move. The other thing that this does is open up airspace for your own fighters and maybe heavier aircraft like Liberators to move in and take out Sundies that could be around the perimeter. Finally, is kind of a warning, is just when you're going back to reload, because if you've done the previous steps correctly, you should be running out of ammo, is that make sure you're watching your ammo and return to your base to get more ammo. Landing on the flight pads can be somewhat tricky, so just watch out and make sure you're going to land. Take it slow, easy, because there's no point in rushing it and getting yourself blown up, because, yeah, it doesn't help. Just take your time and get back into the fight as soon as possible, but don't rush it. So, that is it for dogfighting. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let's go over a quick review. So, remember to scout the area that you're going to be flying in. Make sure that there are actually aircraft in the area or ground targets to attack. Once you've determined what the battle is going to be like, choose your loadout, either your air versus air or your air versus ground. These may take some time to set up, so use some of my other tips and tricks videos, like either my tank or my infantry videos, and go grind some certs up so you can pump some certs into this. A lot of times, you'll be heavily outgunned on the battlefield, and a lot of times you can't avoid that. So, remember the second raid of Schweinfurt, and keep pushing through, get to your objective, even if you're getting ripped up. And when you are, focus fire on that objective. Just try to take out one. It's better to have one down than you go down in flames. Remember to use cover on your approach to give yourself a jump over enemy aircrafts, and retreat back to your warp gate or cover to repair your vehicle. Keep yourself in the game. And finally, be careful please when you're landing your aircraft. It's no fun to watch one of your planes try to land on a pad and then them slam in and blow up. So, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and be looking for more Trials of War video coming out soon. Showstopper out.